What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm your host for today's show, Rockin Robbie Billups. We got a great one lined up. We're going to be talking about the new Avengers film, Avengers 5. I think it was called Kang Dynasty. I don't know if it's still going to be called that, but there's some rumors, some sources, according to Deadline, that have some interesting things to say, including the director that they're going after and just about how many characters we can expect to see in it. That's going to be the focus of the conversation today. And of course, we can't have the Amy, Rex, and Robbie show without the delicious duo themselves. Here they are, Amy and Rex. What is up?
What's up? Happy Friday, man.
Happy Friday. Much more awake than I was last week, so I'm ready. Let's do this.
Nice. All right, so the big thing that we're going to be discussing is Sean Levy, who is being sought after to direct the next Avengers film. And he, of course, is known for, he's the director of the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine movie. He's known for Stranger Things. He's known for a bunch of other things. What is it? I can't remember him right. Real Steel is one apparently he did. I haven't seen a lot of his films, but apparently he's got a pretty good track record. And also, sources say that we can expect over 60 MCU characters in the next Avengers film. We know that we're probably going into the multiverse, or maybe we're doing this. I get it. And obviously, it ain't going to be 60 main characters. There's going to be a lot of like cameos and in and outs and things like that. But that's even more characters than were in Endgame. And my initial thought was, is this the right direction for them to go? They have kind of been on the decline as far as excitement and interest in MCU movies. So are they just trying to recreate success by bringing fan favorite characters in and back? Will Robert Downey Jr. be coming back? What about Chris Evans? It just leads you to this idea, like, and my initial thought was maybe they should try to make a good Avengers movie and not worry about having so many characters in it. Because once again, if you got over 60 MCU characters in this film, that's going to raise your budget up. And as we've been discussing on this show, higher budgets lead to some disappointments in these last few years. So, Rex, Amy, I'm Free Guy. That's the one I was trying to think of. What do y'all think about this news?
I hope it's not that super true, because I mean, sometimes we have had previous Marvel rumors that ended up not being true. So I hope they do keep, like you said, I hope they keep it right. Just make another Avengers movie. Let's have a new roster of main Avengers. If we have a couple cameos here and there sprinkled around, that's fine. And build it up again. If we want to, I know we want to keep expanding the universe. That's what a part of Phase 4 has been, expanding the universe and seeing all these different new people and things we've never seen before. So like you said, Robbie, I hope they kind of reanalyze, just make a new Avengers movie with a new group. And because I know it's something they're definitely thinking about, because one of the things I did hear about the plot for the new Captain America, which I am very excited for, part of the plot is our new Captain America figuring out the next lineup of Avengers. So yeah, hopefully they'll just stick to that right now. And we have no idea what they're doing with the whole Kang thing. We still don't know. They might at least put a pause on it for a little bit and have something more set up for what if they do a multiversal fight or whatever. So hopefully they're not hitting the gas on it.
Yeah. You know, we have also recently gotten the news that Giancarlo Esposito has joined the MCU. He's been shot on location. Like there's photos of him on the set for the new Captain America movie. We have no clue what he's playing. Some people have expected that he's playing another variant of Kang, possibly. But I'm not sure. What about you, Rex? What are you thinking? Too much, too soon, or is it right on the right path? They're frozen. Are they frozen?
Yeah.
Are y'all back now?
Got Comcasted already.
Okay.
We can hear you.
I don't have to repeat everything.
You know, it didn't really happen on Monday's show, by the way. I don't know. No, I heard everything Amy said, and then I asked the question, and then I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Rex, what do you think?
We can hear you. Well, being Friday, I want everybody to go in the weekend on a high note. So that's why I let Amy talk first. The view of hope and positivity.
Which you frown upon, apparently.
I know I don't frown upon it. I just have a different outlook. Feels like Fonzie is warming up the speedboat, and we're getting ready to jump the shark. I gotta tell you, everything they've told me so far tells me that they are desperate, that a bunch of suits in corporate are running the show, and that, as we know, never produces a good movie. All right, so I got to agree with Marcus. All right, so and something Marcus just said, Eternals. Let's look at that. They threw an Academy Award-winning director.
I disagree with that. I don't think any of these characters are B-list, at least not anymore. Just disagree.
They're all B-list, dude. The whole thing has become B-list, in my opinion. So you look at Eternals, blockbuster cast. Okay, you had an Academy Award-winning or at least nominated director, Chloe Zhao, and that movie sucked by all agreement across the board. That movie sucked. So now you're going to try to
that's being a little harsh.
It sucked, dude. I mean,
I suck. I never said suck.
Okay, yeah, you never say anything really kind of sucks unless it's an extreme situation. So in that sense, I'm going to say, I'm saying Eternal sucked. If you disagree with me, go ahead and tell us why. I feel free, but it's been months and months, and we all know we all had the same conclusion. It sucked. So you threw Chloe Zhao at it, and it feels like you're doing exactly the same thing. Okay, you're naming Sean Levy, who I don't know if Sean is good, bad, or whatever. Big deal is he's on the new Deadpool movie. Great. I think it's going to be very, very good. I think the character, the screenplay, what they're doing is going to be great. So I'm not judging him with that. But by the same token, who's Sean Levy? And how's he going to help? If you got a bunch of suits pulling the strings in the background, how's that going to help? Okay, you threw an Academy Award-winning director at it, and it sucked. So how is Sean Levy going to, by himself, going to save the Avengers franchise? I don't think he can. Now you're going to throw 60 characters in it. Ain't no way you're focusing on 60 characters. I agree with Marcus there too. So you're going to focus on a core. Okay, do a bunch of cameos. Okay, throughout the movie, to kind of bring up that, ooh, look, it's Doctor Strange. Ooh, look, it's so-and-so. Ooh, look, it's so-and-so. Okay. But it's all going to rest on the core characters, the screenplay surrounding those core characters. Or is it going to be just another repeat of a formula that you've used time and time again? And throw in 60 characters and talk about your big name director who's going to direct the film. I see nothing that's leaked out that tells me that there is anything about this that's going to make it different, better, reboot, call it what you will. But if you're asking me, this smells and feels like desperation.
Yeah.
We're losing a franchise. We're losing this gold mine. Now we got to do whatever we can to kind of bring it back. Okay. I agree with you. I think Chloe Zhao, I agree. I think Chloe Zhao, this was not her lane. This was not the director for that kind of movie. Okay. I totally agree with Marcus on that one. So why did you hire her? Because she got the cred, man. She's Academy Award winning. All right. So now we can tout, hey, Academy Award winning director Chloe Zhao is directing the new Eternals. And let's get some big name casts in there. Okay. Biggest that we can find. Okay. That we can afford. And not jack everybody $50 a ticket to the theater. So you're glitching, am I?
No, am I?
Okay. All right. Now you were glitching, so I know.
Now you're glitching.
Translate.
Okay.
Us too.
Yeah, I think it's on y'all, but I think we're working it. Y'all back? No. Okay. Hold up.
It just feels desperate. Are we back? And there's always time for there's always time to say, we hate you, Comcast. God, you suck. Okay. Every freaking show. Okay. So, yeah. So that's the opposite of a paid sponsorship. Okay. I'm here to bash Comcast. God almighty. So to me, it really just seems like a desperate move to try and save what has been a gold mine for you. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not going to work.
I agree with you, Rex. I think it does kind of reek a little bit of desperation. I think the reason why they're going after Sean Levy is because they can say from Stranger Things, right? Stranger Things is still kind of like a big cultural thing, and still a lot of merch. It makes a lot. And then Deadpool's about to hit, and they know Deadpool's going to do well because the pre-sales are insane for it, right? So as you like to affectionately call them, the bean counters are counting those beans right now, those potential beans. And they're like, oh man, look at the merchandising on Stranger Things and the success of that. Even though it's like years sometimes between seasons right now, everybody's still anticipating that next final season of Stranger Things. Then we can throw in the fact that he made us $1 billion, because I do believe it's almost a guarantee that's going to be the biggest movie of the year is Deadpool and Wolverine. It's going to hit $1 billion. It's going to make a lot of money, right? And they're going to make a lot of money with them the popcorn buckets too. So I'm like, is it that he's going to be right for the story they want to? I don't think they're focused on the story they want to tell. And I think that they believe that if they can get Robert Downey Jr. to come in and like pop in for a second, or if they can just bring the Guardians in and all this stuff, they can I think they think that if they just have all these characters and actors
needs to be there anymore. They're done. They can rest. They can relax.
Oh, I promise you, they're going to bring them back.
Yeah, but I think they're going to bring him back because they're counting on people just losing their minds when they see it happen, and then that's going to make the movie successful. But I think it also puts them in danger if, once again, spending too much on a movie, it underperforms for what they expect. So I do think it reeks a little bit of desperation. I'll agree with you on that, Rex, 100%.
It feels more like you're trying to sell something as opposed to trying to tell a good story. And that's what's happening. And everything you said just backs that up. Okay. So, Marcus, I agree. I think Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman will be back in the movie if they have anything to say about it, because they're hoping to piggyback off of the success that Deadpool is expected to have. All right. And Marcus, I believe that the multiverse has been the best thing to their bank account that ever occurred, because you can basically blow up any story. Doesn't have to make sense. You can just scream multiverse. Okay. And just throw somebody in there. And, wow. Okay. Action figures. Avengers 5 limited edition action figure of whoever you want. To be named later. It's just, I'm sorry. I don't see this being a success. They're hoping to ride the end game kind of nostalgia. They're trying to Marcus, people don't like the multiverse, but the bean counters do, because it allows you to bypass story and insert anything you want with a limited amount of it makes sense sort of feeling, so you can merchandise and market more. And right now, what you have is, I truly believe you have the bean counters in the back. And that's why I'm not optimistic about James Gunn's Superman. Okay, or anything else. Because I believe what he wants to do, what he is allowed to do, is been restricted. Okay, and once again, I said bean counters. And that's why these movies.
Oh, y'all are losing it again. You there?
Let's call it what it is.
You there?
Come on.
Hello? I can hear Amy typing now.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's really bad today. I don't know why. Solar flares, I don't know. In fact, the Comcast never upgrades the system because it's not worth it. So they won't upgrade the system, repair the system. Jesus.
You back? I think y'all are back now, right?
Yeah, I think we're back. Same beam counters that control Comcast's internet are also the ones making Avengers 5. Oh, God almighty. It's brutal. But yeah, I just, to me, it's just another money grab. Let's squeeze, let's milk every last dime out of Avengers. And then when it finally craps out, it craps out.
Yeah.
The question becomes this. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask Amy how she's feeling on the multiverse idea. Like, are you done with it? Are you kind of getting tired of it? Because to me, it feels like they've been teasing it, but they've not really gone full board into it, really. And I just think they've like kind of just sat on it too long. And I don't know if that's the key. What about you? Because I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat being like they're over the multiverse stuff.
I guess it depends on, some movies do it very well and then just some movies don't. And they're all looking at each other like DC's looking at Marvel like, oh, let's try to do what they're doing. Because Flash didn't work very well, but we had 3 Spider-Men in the same movie and it was great. So it really depends on kind of what project it is and who, again, I've brought this up before. It's all about the team who's behind it and how they want to, and how they craft it and what story they're telling.
I agree with what you're saying, but I think the problem is this. What is the purpose of the multiverse? At a certain point in time, okay, starting with, let's call it what it is, Star Trek, okay? At a certain point in time, it was a novel concept, okay, looking into something, what if you will, and as a movie, as a TV kind of mechanism. Mirror, Mirror, the episodes in that are the best. Okay, it was a novel idea, a universe of opposites, if you will. Then it was used, the latest Star Trek iteration. You had the Prime universe. Then you had the I forget, they named it after one ship that got
the Kelvin universe.
Yes, the Kelvin universe. So it was a way to be able to move the story away from the original Star Trek, which wasn't a bad idea at the time because everything was fixed in a certain universe and the movies were getting stale and they wanted to do something new. So it was a convenient way to be able to launch that. Okay. Then the MCU, whatever you want to call it, DCU, started to use it as a money-making mechanism. Okay. Let's look at it for what it is. We can change the story midstream without having to explain anything, okay, without any kind of continuity, because we're making so many of these movies and we're trying to profit off of it. So this way we can just make a hard left turn without having to explain it other than, oh, it's multiverse, different universe, okay? So, of course, in their world, we want an infinite number of universes. So it became a convenient tool to switch gears midway through, and that's what it's become. So that's why, and ultimately, viewers, fans, we're not stupid, okay? We get what, it doesn't make any sense. What is the point? Why are you doing this, okay? But when you look at it, it allows them to switch off as soon as they want, make more money. Well, guess what? If you think about it along those lines, it does make sense why they do it. As we sit here and we all scratch our heads, why are you doing this? Why are we doing this? Okay, for the money. That's why they're doing it, and that's why they're destroying it. And here's the other thing: we really think they're trying to save the MCU? Sure, it's a gold mine. It's like an ATM for them. But at the end of the day, they must recognize, you know what? This bank is going to close, man. It is going to die a horrible death. So what do we do now? Do we just try to squeeze every last drop out of it and then move on? Or do we try to repair it? It's hard and tough times to repair it. So I'm now beginning to wonder, they may know exactly what they're doing. They just don't care. Let's squeeze every time out of the universe and move on. It's what it feels like with Avengers 5.
Yeah, you got 60 characters in this movie. You got a lot of action figures to sell. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Action figures, T-shirts, you name it. Okay, it's going to become one long commercial. really. Because I don't know how you're going to introduce 60 cameos and tell a coherent story. Even with 2.5 hours. Even if you go to 3 hours. Yeah, figure drawing. Yeah, right? That multiverse. So, I don't know. You know, but nothing.
So we had
said, gets me going, ooh, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah. So I think that they want that to happen. I think they're expecting people to get really excited. Like, oh yeah, all my favorite characters are back. Like the MCU is going to be back, But I don't think it's going to be like, what if some of these 60 characters, what if it's like Madison from She-Hulk? You know what I'm saying? Like that's a character they could throw in there. They could count her, Happy Hogan. And then I think on the Campia show this week, when they were chatting about it, they were like, yeah, but 40 of them will be like Happy Hogan variants or something like that. Right. But like certain things do work, like Amy pointed out that certain films do work, like Into the Spider-Verse. That's a pretty great way to do it. But it's like there's something different and unique and interesting about that film, right? The last Spider-Man movie, it worked. It made a lot of money. But, in hindsight, a lot of people start realizing that maybe the story suffered just a little bit because of it, and there were some inconsistencies or something like that. But we had a question in the chat that said, how would the MCU even continue if they didn't lean into multiverse? Because there's only so many stories you can tell through the linear fashion. Well, I think one easy way would be like at some point while you're gearing up towards Endgame, you lay in the thread, for instance, let's say, and I know they didn't have all the rights, but let's say you have this idea that there was this fateful voyage of these 4 people who like breached into another dimension, and it happened like 50 years ago or whatever in the 1960s and blah, 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 blah. And then maybe at the end of Endgame or some other project, your end credit scene is like a hole being ripped between the reality of the MCU and say the negative zone, and say a Reed Richards or a Benjamin Grimm or a Susan Storm pops out and goes, Galactus is coming. That's how you do it. I think the biggest problem with the MCU is they had no plan really going forward after Endgame. And not necessarily that they didn't have a plan, but that they didn't thread something bigger than Thanos on the horizon. So at the end of Endgame, if we knew that Doom or Galactus or Kang, if we already had that stuff being set up at that time, I think it would have continued to generate a little bit more of excitement. Like you didn't have that, oh, you thought that Thanos story was crazy. Well, now Galactus is coming, and that's going to be a big deal. But now I'm worried that they're just going to use Galactus for a Fantastic Four movie, right? Instead of actually using, like, that's a huge threat. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think they could have done. And I think that you can explain the X-Men existing in the MCU because, the leader of the X-Men is a very powerful telepath, right? Who may be intentionally hiding the existence of mutants or something like that, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I think that would have been the answer, but I think the time for that's over. But going forward right now, yeah, X-Men Fantastic Four, maybe you should focus on that. And I don't know. Maybe I saw somebody in the chat mention it. Maybe the Avengers time as a franchise is over. And maybe it is time to lean more into, X-Men's super hot right now. You know what I'm saying? With X-Men 97, Deadpool, Wolverine coming up. But are we wanting Hugh Jackman to play Wolverine for the next 10, 15 years? Because I don't know if he wants to. So I don't really know. What do y'all think?
Well, I figured drawing. I would agree with your statement right there. So it's not the multiverse aspect itself. I think that is a fertile ground with which you can make tons of stories. It's how it's being handled, because what they're using it for isn't to open up new stories, but in order to force old characters back into the mold. Okay, so they can use them, take advantage of them. I agree with something you're saying, Robbie. I think the reboot would have worked or would have been more successful if they focused on Fantastic Four. I think the audience wants to see it. It's a way to open up a whole new storyline. And then if you want to throw in other aspects of the MCU, you could. That would have been the road to go. But they're kind of showing their hand. They believe that, well, I don't know if we can make a good FF movie. That may take too much creativity. So let's go back to what has worked for us in the past. Okay, glitz it up. 60 cameos, okay, from the old cast. Core Avengers 5, try to piggyback off of Endgame. Okay, let's get a famous director that we can use and piggyback off of him and squeeze every nickel out of that. Okay, this is our best bet. And I think that's what they're doing. And the problem is that you're talking about a corporation that lives and dies by the quarter. And this is a problem with any kind of public company. You're really more concerned about what's happening this quarter, this fiscal year, than you are what's happening 5, 10, 20 years down the road. And they had a good run. Okay. Kevin brought them from Iron Man all the way up to Endgame. Okay. It all worked. And, he was able, because it was under the radar, to kind of hold to the one path for many years. But now you can't do that. There's too much money involved. So there are too many hands in it. Okay, too many bean counters kind of exercising their right. So that affects storyline, it affects creativity, and it affects the long-term future. So I can imagine that Kevin could not map out the next 10 years without, significant interference. And that's what we're seeing the result of now.
Yeah.
Okay, Avengers 5, bad idea, man. On every level, it's a bad idea. What are you going to introduce new? Unless it's something based from a comic, okay, original comic. I'm not really sure what you're going to do. It's new. Granted, Kang wasn't really their fault the way that went down. But
it was their fault. It was their fault, though, that they introduced their next big bad in an Ant-Man movie and had him get defeated by Ant-Man. So how big of a threat is he supposed to be then, right?
Yes, but I think that what happened with Kang, I think that they could have overcome that, right? Some way. But what happened with Kang became a problem with an actor, okay, and not vetting it out. I'm sorry, man. It's a lot of money floating around. You tell me you can't hire a PI to check them out. Come on, man. All right. These stories don't just appear out of nowhere. Okay. Same thing with Ezra Miller. I can't imagine that he just became what he was and there was no sign or hint of it. So somebody did not do their due diligence and it costs a ton of money. Okay. And so in the sense that they didn't see that coming. Granted. But other than that, even that storyline seemed very much like a carbon copy. So you're right about that in the sense that it wasn't going to really be a success in that sense. So, you had Thanos. So replace Thanos with Kang. Same basic story, same basic line. How are we going to make it different? Introduce the multiverse. Then we can bring everybody back. Okay. We can bring dead people back. Okay. Which had to be like, bean counters going, yes, we can bring dead people back. I told you we shouldn't have killed him or her. It's just also, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I remember when they first announced all this stuff way back in the old days of 2019 when we were like, there's Avengers Kang Dynasty, Avengers Secret Wars. We were kind of excited. Like we were like, oh, that's cool. They're going to dive into the multiverse, this and that. But then there were so many like disappointments about it. Like, right? Like Loki was kind of doing well for a moment there, but then the Doctor Strange movie left a lot of people kind of unfulfilled. Right. And this, like, what is the point? Like they need to build something and they need to do it, but I just don't know if the Avengers is the way to go anymore. And I don't know if, all these things have like Endgame was a natural ending and it was a jumping off point for a lot of people. And I think that they're expecting this to get butts back in theater seats. And I just don't know. We'll see. But obviously Deadpool and Wolverine's going to do well. And it's going to be playing around with all that stuff with, all the X-Men in there. And, it's going to have a bunch of cameos. Taylor Swift's probably in it as Dazzler because Marvel's really trying hard right now to push Dazzler over in the comics, which is crazy to me because that's the character that's never really, been that. But, Taylor Swift plays her, all of a sudden there's more attention put on her. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this develops. And apparently they've been after Sean Levy for a minute, and he doesn't really want to commit. And some people are like, well, is it because the studio wants to see how Deadpool and Wolverine does? They already know it's going to do good, right? They can, I mean, or at least they already anticipate that it's going to do well. But some people said maybe he's looking at the project being like, yeah, this is a little much, y'all. Like, maybe I don't want to jump into this, because that could be unfair to like put a director in and be like, all right, this is what you got to do. Good luck. You know what I'm saying?
So I think that maybe Sean Levy is thinking, I don't want to get pigeonholed. Okay. Because, it can end a career if you think about it. So he might be thinking, you know what? I want to start doing something else. I want to get away from this. I did my superhero gig. I did Deadpool. Now I want to do something else. And I could see that. Okay. You could get pigeonholed real easy in this. And, I don't want to say he's not well known, but he's certainly had success on a variety of different things. Stranger Things, now Deadpool. There was a movie you mentioned I haven't seen. So he's feeling, he's on that cusp. And I think, again, not really knowing the kind of director he is, he seems to be a good director, seems to have some range, and would like to flex it. Okay, he does Avengers 5, and he's starting to pigeonhole. And then it becomes, are you going to get anything else? Okay, will you be able to direct a rom-com, a sci-fi film? Who knows? Okay,
yeah.
Maybe he sees himself more as a Ridley Scott, Titanic,
James Cameron.
James Cameron. Okay, who have done a lot of different things. Who knows? Maybe that's why he's shying away from it. Maybe he feels the same thing we're talking about right now. This is a dead dog, dude. Shoot it. Put it out. Okay? It's limping. Big time. Okay? I'm not in the least bit, and they can drop all the little nuggets they want. That's another marketing trick, I feel like. Okay? Okay? That's why I get so animated about Superman. Drop the movie already, bro. Enough with the hints. I don't care.
Hey, we're only 13 months away, Rex.
I don't care that Superman is sitting on a bed putting on his boots. I don't care. Let me see the movie. Okay? So in a way, it just feels like they're trying to squeeze it.
Yeah. I like what Eddie said, too. Taylor Swift, to me, it seems like another desperation gimmick. I mean, really? And Mark has got a good point, too. The only people making a big deal out of the Swift Dazzler cameo are the guys specking on X-Men 130, which is ridiculous in price right now. Like, ridiculous for what it is and what it's always been historically.
Right.
At least with DC, though, we are getting, like, fresh start. I mean, there's obviously going to be some kind of weirdness about how Peacemaker still fits in and all this kind of stuff. But at least I feel like we're getting a fresh start. They took them a while to
They had no choice. Choice.
Yeah, it took them a while to realize. Yeah, because and is Marvel about to go into that route? Are they about to are they there now? I think they might be there now where it's not working and they're not really admitting or trying to fix that. But I don't know. I think this year off has really helped, right? But also so much time. I mean, we still got this Blade movie that's being rewritten again that was announced 5 years ago. They're going to lose their star. He's going to eventually have to go do another gig, right? You can't just sit there and wait for 5 years to make a movie, go through 3 directors and go through 5 script changes and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't seem like that's going well. You know what I'm saying? And you announce something, for instance, that Black Adam movie. If that Black Adam movie would have come out right when they were first talking about making it, it would have done better. The Rock, Black Adam, this and that. Man, that movie took forever to be made and come out, and then nobody really cared. You know what I'm saying? So, and it wasn't a good movie. But
so I want to say one thing. So Marcus figure drawing and Weird. Actually, Marcus in figure drawing about Taylor Swift. That at least makes sense to me. That's a straight line to money. Okay. And that decision, I think, is a good one. Make her Dazzler. Doesn't matter how she acts. Every Swiftie in the world will watch that movie and buy the crap. Okay, so to me, that's at least a straight line. And you
Yeah, and
don't
I think
have to
that's
make
more
it fancy
that's
or
more
anything
in the
else.
fact that Ryan Reynolds and his wife Blake Lively, right? Like they're friends with Taylor Swift, right? They were there at the football games. That's where all these rumors started swirling around. Like, oh, Ryan Reynolds is at the football game with Taylor Swift. She must be in Deadpool. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and
Yes.
Marcus, I totally agree. I don't think she can act. But when she was in Cats,
Can we
as
not talk
opposed to
about
where
Cats?
she is now, it's an entirely different position in her career. She didn't have the kind of power that she has today. Okay. She can influence a swath of Swifties that will move on her command. I don't care how sucky the movie is. If you make it about Dazzler and you cast Taylor Swift, they will watch. They will buy the merch. Okay. Every critic can hate it. Rotten Tomatoes can give it a 10%. Don't matter. They will come out and they will spend money. Okay. So to me, that's a straight line. That makes sense. What they're doing with the MCU makes less sense.
Eddie,
A lot.
to respond to your comment, they're young people in theaters is something that doesn't happen as often, right, anymore. And it happened last year with Barbie. And when I mean young, I don't mean like kids, right? Because kid movies still do really well, like young kids, but like teenagers, you know, people that have like maybe part-time jobs with disposable income. That we used when I was a teenager, we all went to the movie theaters every week. It was a thing. It was a common date night, right? And you see less of that market there. Now it'll bring them in, but to Rex's point, they don't care about the comic fans. They don't care about the fans of the MCU. They care about the money. And if they have Taylor Swift in here and she has like a song, right? Like a new song and there's a single. That's what that's what they're thinking, right?
Soundtrack to the movie, a Dazzler concert scene. Are you kidding me? She could then incorporate in her live tour. Oh my God. You're talking about money hand over fist. I agree with Marcus. They stopped caring about the comics audience. Okay. All right. And Dazzler Taylor Swift, if that doesn't happen, they couldn't convince her to do it. And then they're stupid. You want to talk about doing anything you can to make that happen. Because she will bring in an audience much like the comic audience. Okay, but bigger. Okay. There's no doubt in my mind. So to me, that's a very straightforward thing.
Yeah. And if that happens, it will definitely be way over $1 billion.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I don't think the movies are made for comic fans. They're mining the material, but I don't think they've really made movies for comic fans ever in superhero films. Like honestly, you know, like I think even since Superman by Richard Donner, which I think is a masterpiece, except for I don't like the ending that much. But like, you know, he spins the world backwards and goes back in time. That's not how that works, but whatever, you know, it's a mythological thing. So it's okay. But I think even since then, it's not about adapting. Oh, let's do this for the comic fans. It's like, oh man, there's something here in these comics. Let's see if we can widen that audience because way more people go and watch movies as opposed to reading comics. And this ain't 1991 anymore. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't think they've ever really made comic book movies for comic book fans.
I would agree because, you know, in their minds, the comic book fan is going to come out and watch it anyway. They may criticize it at the end, but they're going to come out just for curiosity's sake because there's a character they love because they want to see comics in film. So they got you. Okay. All right. Again, I use a cigarette example. Cigarette companies used to spend far more money trying to get you hooked on cigarettes than worried about people that are currently smoking. Okay. Why? Because those of you that are currently smoking, you're already addicted. I don't need to sell you anything. You're just going to go and buy it because you're addicted. Now, how do I get a new person to get addicted? Okay. That's why they used to have people give out free samples in the street until they outlawed that. Because the best way is here. Take a pack. Here, take a pack. Try it. You'll like it. Smoke 2, smoke 3. Next thing you know, you're addicted. And then gonna get a free pack? Nope. Gotta go buy it now. That's how they're looking at it. So I agree. I don't think they ever made it because of the comic fans per se. Yeah, Marcus, you're right. And now the problem is that China's producing its own movies. So again, and China being what it is, will tie politics into whether or not a movie is shown or not, which is going to affect the artistic value of that film. Okay. There was that stage in time where Hollywood was trying to entice the Chinese audience. So you'd have weird scenes, okay, take place. You know, something happens in Shanghai because, well, we need to sell this in China. So we need something to happen there. Okay. Nobody cares that it's in China, but they want to sell it to a Chinese market. But now you're having the reverse happen. Some of the big movies that domestically sell in China are produced by China. Okay. So they don't really need Hollywood anymore. And then you've lost something there. Because once you can wean that audience away from Hollywood produced movies, you've lost a big chunk of the market, global market.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Hollywood's worried about now.
I wonder if that's why they have that scene in Dark Knight where he goes to China, like out of nowhere. He just goes to China to like kidnap that dude and like comes back, right? And yeah, you're right. They've actually exercised a lot of things from films so that they will work better in China, you know?
And weird, I don't disagree with you, okay? In the sense that there's it would take a shift from comic fans to Swifties. But think about the number of dollars they're talking about. Okay. I mean, so I don't know what number is. I'm guessing. Okay. What is it? Comic book fans compared to Swifties. What is it? 100 to 1? Something like that. For every one comic book fan, there's 100 Swifties, 1,000 Swifties. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of money. And these guys don't really care about who boosted their movies, you know, in the past. That's not the way corporate America thinks. And that kind of money, that kind of power. Now, can you retain them? Only if Taylor Swift keeps acting. Okay. And every MCU movie has Taylor Swift in it. That's the only way you can do it.
Yeah.
All right.
And that ain't going to happen.
That ain't gonna happen.
No.
She don't need the money. All right.
Hydra Asylum, who I believe is Jay, apparently is the big apologist for the ending of the first Superman movie. How many times, I wonder, in his life has Jay been like, he didn't spin the world backwards, y'all. They were visually doing that, but
you know,
I know what it looks like.
The time the movie came out, it was tremendous. Okay. It was during that back in the good old days when there was a vacuum. Okay. Yeah. You know, and it was a quality movie that was made on an iconic character in comic book culture. Okay. Yeah. And the biggest character, everybody knew who Superman was. There was no guessing. You didn't have to explain it to somebody. So it was perfect timing. It was, for the time, again, well made. You know, catching Lois in the air, holding the helicopter up with one hand, you know, all that stuff. Gene Hackman's Luthor. Okay.
Yeah,
probably one of his.
Man. I love it.
Yeah, he was, you know, wearing, you know, the wig right up until the end. You know, it was all just so well made. You know, Hackensack, New Jersey made it into it. I mean, come on. Okay. All of it was just so timely, well done. You know, you kind of, you know, everything that's happened the last few years makes you kind of miss those days, doesn't it? You kind of wish it was back in that time. You know, the first Batman with Michael Keaton. Okay. All right. The sound, the music, the Prince soundtrack, Jack Nicholson. You know, it was the beginning days of this. And it was so special. And somehow here we are now. Yeah. Where another superhero movie is just, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't worry, Jay. I think the Dick Lester ending of his Superman 2 is even worse, where he just kisses Lois Lane and so she forgets who he is. That's pretty dumb, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, so. but the one scene where he goes back to that diner and he beats up that dude, that was cool. I really enjoyed that scene. I
love Superman 2. I'm just saying, you know, the ending of 1 and 2, they're kind of, you know, just a little bit. But don't worry, it's not the ending of those movies that killed that franchise. It was Richard Pryor. So
And that
and it wasn't
cheapo
Richard
budget.
Pryor's fault.
No, he was funny. All right. So,
Yeah.
Superman 4. No, let's not.
Oh man,
Yeah,
That
they
movie.
got so bad after.
I wonder what
after
Jay. What do you think about Superman 4? Let's switch gears real quick. We got a few minutes left. The new Venom trailer dropped this week. Did y'all watch it?
I did.
I did.
Man, I think that looks
I
terrible.
haven't been into Venom, guys. I haven't been into those movies. I haven't seen the last two. Those aren't for me.
I'm okay.
And people have fun with them, great, but they're not for me.
I'm okay with Venom. You know, it's kind of tongue in cheek. It's different from what we expected. You know, I'm not breaking down any doors to watch it, but it seemed in line with the other movies, you know. So I'm okay with it. It has minutes, moments of humor and whatever.
I'm a huge Venom fan. You know, like Venom when he was really like coming into his own in those pages of McFarlane's Spider-Man, and then eventually the Mark Bagley stuff, and then he Lethal Protector and his series of miniseries. Man, I'm like 10 to like 13 years old at that time, in that time period. Man, I am like hooked, right? I love Venom. I've always loved that character. I'm a big fan of Tom Hardy, right? I was very disappointed in Venom 1. And then I'm also a big Carnage fan. I was also incredibly disappointed in Venom 2. And watching this trailer, I'm like, this looks stupid to me. But I don't know. It's just me. Those movies, they should be made for me, but they're not. I'd rather see him just in a Spider-Man movie as a villain or an anti-hero or something like that, personally. So the Venom trailer did not. Yeah. And your big thing is Spider-Man. Your big moment in the trailer is, oh, we're gonna venomize a horse. And that's something right now that's going on in the comics that's really obnoxious, is like the Venom verse, right? Okay, so we got a Spider Verse, and now we need a Venom verse, and we got to have a venomized everybody. I hate that. I hate that. It's just, it takes away the unique originality and place of the character to me when they do that. That's just how I feel, though.
Well, so I want to throw something else out there. I don't know if you've seen Star Wars Acolyte yet.
I have not. No.
All right. I'm sure some of the viewers today have watched it. I'm curious what they thought. I was, as always, disappointed. Okay. It just was not well done. There was so much there they could have played with, and they didn't touch any of it. Really? And so, yeah. I know Rebel Moon has been not widely accepted, but I actually found that more enjoyable. I want to see something new. Okay. Acolyte, Ed Weird. I'll probably watch it because I do love Star Wars. The lightsaber battles are interesting. The fight scenes are good. I give them that. The fight scenes are excellent. But other than that, man, I got to say, I'm disappointed at best.
Did you watch it, Amy? No, again, I'm not a Star Wars head. If I feel like watching something, I'll check it out. But I've heard pretty mixed stuff for Acolyte.
Yeah.
Like, for people
Alex
who don't like it, I'm very sorry to hear that.
I bet Alex loves it, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, really?
Ouch.
Yeah, so that tells you what to expect. It's not good.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
so
interesting.
I mean, I'd say he likes it better than I do, but and he's trying to like it, but
yeah, man, Star Wars is kind of in the same boat as Marvel, and I mean, both led by Disney, and they have a lot of resources, and so it seems puzzling and perplexing sometimes that they're in this situation. Meanwhile, with Venom, I don't expect anything more because it's Sony, and I don't think they know what to do with live action Spider-Man unless Marvel's involved. So
yeah,
that's just that. Now, last night I did finally watch Godzilla -1. That movie was spectacular. It was amazing.
I've been meaning to watch it. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch it. So I hear that it's unexpected, some of the scenes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
it's I really, really, really freaking liked it. Like, and I like Godzilla enough, but I'm not like a huge Godzilla head that's seen every movie and knows every intricate detail and all that stuff. But man, it's the first time, the original Japanese version of Godzilla, not the American one with like Raymond Burr, right? I like that one. That's not the one to watch. You watch the original Japanese cut. It's a haunting movie, right? Because it's about like post-war Japan and the stuff they had to go through, the devastation, right, the rebuilding of their culture. And like, that's why there's this, Godzilla represents something, right? And they go right back to that in this movie. Like I think it technically is a prequel, but I couldn't remember the timeline exactly. So I'm pretty sure it's a prequel, but man, it is so well done. And a Godzilla movie where I actually care about the human story. It's freaking
Yeah, that's
awesome.
what I've read. So It's been coming up. It's on Netflix, right? It's been coming up, and I've been meaning to watch it, but I want to actually have enough time to watch it in one sitting, not have other things distracting me. So, maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Maybe
so
the lesson.
Like everybody agrees with you.
Yeah,
everybody had a very positive impression.
My only problem with it is is the problem I have with myself, the fact that I didn't make time to go see it in the theater, because it's definitely something that would have been awesome in the theater. Like, wow. Like, and it won like a special effects award at the Academy, but I think it could have been a contender for Best Picture of that year. Like, I put it right up there with Oppenheimer's my favorite movie of last year. For real. I loved it. So much. So maybe the lesson of Godzilla -1 could apply to Marvel. Maybe, Godzilla's 70 years this franchise has been going on, right? And there's a lot of bad Godzilla movies, y'all. There's a lot of bad ones, right? And interest has always kind of been up and down in it in American culture. But -1 kind of goes back to that root. So that's maybe what the MCU should do. Go back to what started it. Not saying what you do is do another Iron Man movie with Robert Downey Jr., but do a movie where you had a perfect cast, right? You had a great director, a really great writer, and it worked. And you cared about the character and you cared about the story. And even though you had your idea to expand it into a larger Avengers universe, that wasn't the point of that first Iron Man movie. Maybe we need some more stuff like that, right?
Well, I think that the problem is that Godzilla had a different path. Okay, Godzilla had the originals and then a whole bunch of, let's just Godzilla versus everybody, okay, movies. Quickly made, poorly made, cheaply made. I remember it being on TV, black and white, growing up. Then it entered a resurgence or revitalization where people were taking it seriously, making good movies. And to the point where we're at today. So in a sense, Godzilla is not a formula that was planned. It just sort of happened that way. So I don't know that MCU can do that in that sense, if you will.
Yeah.
So it may be tough.
For sure. Well, we've chatted for an hour and still we have yet to once again fix the MCU, but we're going to keep trying. Anyway, great conversation. You that joined us live, thank you so much for participating. If you're watching this on the replay, let us know your comments. Rex, Amy, I really, as always, am truly appreciative of you spending some time with me on Fridays to have nice, fun chats about pop culture. What y'all got coming up?
So tonight we have the original art show with...
Yes, we're back to basics. Nick's got a bunch of stuff. He's got... he's got Rick Leonardi, Leonard Kirk, more Dale Eaglesham, some Mel Ruby. It's the Mel Ruby page is a really nice Spider-Man and Red Sonja page. Check that out. We got some Jay Lee covers, some commission cover art. It's gonna be a good time.
All right, 7 p.m. Eastern on the XP, The Experience on YouTube. What do you got coming up, buddy?
Oh man, lots of cool, fun stuff. In fact, I'll be over at Blood Splattered Chatter Sunday afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Central Time to talk about Godzilla -1. And that's going to be a real fun conversation. And then on Monday night, we're continuing Crew's Choice with Interview with the Vampire, a movie I hadn't seen in decades. And for some reason in my head, I always thought it was like a soft vampire movie. I was really surprised at my revisit of Interview with the Vampire. So it's going to be a cool conversation on Monday as well. And of course, that's going to be at 8 p.m. Central Time Monday after our show over at the EXP Rex.
All right. So yeah, that's right. Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be here with Robbie and John for our normal show. Yeah, Marcus, Kirsten Dunst. That tells you how old that movie is, man. That's weird. But I agree with you. Interview with Vampire. I think the only difference is it showed a not human, but another side to vampires. It's not just sucking blood and and staying alive and avoiding the sun. It was the mentality of it, immortality, if you will. Hey,
Yeah.
Lorena.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that's the show, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time. Station Pop Pop.